Welcome everybody, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I'm attempting to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a look at a brand new Enuff Z'Nuff record. It just came out today, Friday, July 10th of 2020. It's called Brainwashed Generation, and it's actually their 15th studio album and 22nd album overall. One of the things I've always really liked about this group is throughout their 31-year recording career that they've always been consistently recording and touring. They've never broken up. They've never rested on their laurels and only played the hits kind of a thing. They've continually been a creative band developing and releasing new music, and it's one of the things that's made me like them so much. They formed in Chicago in 1984 with Donnie V on lead vocals and guitar and Chip Z'Nuff on bass. And one of their early guitar players before they were signed was Alex Kane, and he'll come into factor a little bit later on. But before they were signed and released their debut, they added ex-Le Mans guitarist Derek Frigo and drummer Vic Fox. And then they released their debut album on Atco Records in 1989, and it featured two of their biggest songs, New Thing and Fly High Michelle, both of which received considerable airplay on MTV and radio airplay as well, but didn't translate into album sales, unfortunately. And then their follow-up album, Strength, came out in 1991. It had two really big radio hits as well, with the songs Mother's Eyes and Baby Loves You. But again, it did not translate into album sales, unfortunately. And so at this point, they were in considerable debt and actually filed for bankruptcy and left Atco Records. And so at this point, they signed with Clive Davis's Arista Records and released the 1993 album Animals with Human Intelligence. And unfortunately, this was at the height of grunge music, so they didn't get a fair shake at that point. Anything that was 80s or hairband related was just not considered fashionable or something worth exploring, and so it really went under the radar. It's a great album. If you like the first two, I highly recommend checking it out. Now, just prior to the release of that album, their drummer Vic Fox actually left to join Vince Neil's solo band, and then shortly after the release of the album, lead guitar player Derek Frigo left the band as well. And so over the next 27 years, the band went through a number of lineup changes, constantly in flux, including lead singer and guitar player Donnie V even coming and going at different times, currently being out of the band. And so at this point, 15 studio albums, 22 overall, and the current lineup on this album is Chip Z'Nuff on vocals and bass, Tori Steffrigan on lead guitar, a returning Alex Kane, he's the guitar player from before they were signed, who's actually coming back, which is pretty cool, and then Daniel Hill on drums, which brings us to present day with Brainwashed Generation. And the band themselves, the sound that they have, if you don't know, they're very pop, and it's sort of a Beatles meets psychedelic sound. And I think on this album here, they finally gelled as a band. Their previous album, Diamond Boy from 2018, while good, and this was also the first album that Chip Z'Nuff sings on, it just was a little more experimental than what I feel Brainwashed Generation is, which is a bit more traditional. And so I do lean towards this newer album here. And Chip Z'Nuff, I do think, is doing a really fine job taking over lead vocals for Donnie V on here, and the songwriting is really strong as well. Donnie and Chip always co-wrote the songs together, so Chip being one half of that songwriting team, we're still getting really strong songs. On here, we've got 10 tracks total. Unfortunately, the first track on here, The Gospel, is a short little instrumental, kind of a throwaway track, so there's really only 9 full songs on here. Track 2, Fatal Distraction, is the first single off the album, and it's actually co-written by Donnie V, and is a really strong track in and of itself. Track 3, I Got My Money Where My Mouth Is a really catchy tune, and it's one I find myself going back to over and over. It's got a lot of that classic Enuff Z'Nuff style to it. Track 6 is an interesting one. Strangers in My Head is actually another song co-written by Donnie V, and on it he guests on lead vocals, and it's great to see that these two, Chip Z'Nuff and Donnie V, have been able to patch things up in recent years, and they're able to collaborate on this track, and I hope that they can keep collaborating in the future. And then track 9 is probably my favorite track. It's called Go, and it's another really catchy pop tune that just pulled me in on it, and again has me going back to it over and over. So let's take a look at this. As you can see, they've got their peace sign, which has always been integral to the band throughout. It's always on the album cover somewhere, and so it's on the tree there. There's the spine of it, and the back side of it has a really great live shot, or band shot of the guys there, and then all the track listing. And when we open it up, you got the booklet on this side with that live shot, and there's that peace sign again on the disc. And when I pop that out, you've got the peace sign under it. And I'll pull out the booklet here, give you a little bit better look at that front cover art. And you get a really great shot of Chip there, and then it goes through the lyrics and everything. Unfortunately, no more band shots in here. I wish they had filled it for more shots of the individual guys, but get that good live one there on the back side of it. And so with this album here being the third one without frontman Donnie V, and the first one that Donnie V was not part of was Clown's Lounge. This one here was actually a collection of demos though, so Donnie still appears on it, but it was fleshed out by the current guys. And then of course the second one being Diamond Boy and Brainwashed Generation, the one we're talking about as the current one. And so the album has a really catchy old style Enuff Z'Nuff feel to it in my opinion, and I find it very intoxicating. My only complaint would be that there's a vocal effect that Chip uses on his vocals while singing that I would rather prefer it being more of the clean vocals, but I kind of understand why it's used. This effect sort of gives it more of that feel that the way Donnie used to sing, and so it does keep it in line with that Enuff Z'Nuff sound. Overall, I think it's a really solid album, and it's a welcome addition to my collection. I think if you're a fan of Enuff Z'Nuff, you should definitely check it out. I think you might really enjoy this. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope everyone has a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.